The case throughout the football season. We're going to continue the tradition of leaving our number one of the week open for you to react to whatever it was that you saw or heard over the weekend. All right, so we'll continue to do that. If you don't use it, then I'll start putting interviews in there. Well, I've got a lot of reaction myself. I would assume that you have some reaction to maybe some of the things that I will prompt you on, maybe some of the things that I don't even know about, or that, just something that you want to talk about from over the weekend. Now, lines are open, 256-576-4977. That gets you in, 256-576-4977. Text the show if you'd like at 7329-TA show, 732-982-7469. It's a great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's X feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We're on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN. And there you'll find a link to our YouTube channel. And our YouTube channel is there and ready for you as well. And you can watch the show on WZZN TV. Please subscribe to that bad boy. Go to 977ESPN.com, our website. Get links to all of that, plus plenty of other information. You can also get our app. You need our app. So you can not only listen on your phone or anywhere you're at, you can also find links to Zone 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 as well, all our alternate streaming channels for more great programming. Now, we have got plenty to get into. What an amazing finish to the race in Atlanta. But how was the race itself? Long is how it was. 4 hours to run 400 miles. 4 hours is just too long. I can't devote 4 hours to, it's just too long. Figure out a way to get me a 2.5 hour race. It should be about the length of a baseball game. It's just 4 hours. It was a wreck fest out there. And as much as I enjoy the pack racing, if you're going to do it, you have to have tremendous handling in the package for these cars as well, because these cars were all over the place. You can't go in a pack of 36 cars and then have the cars not have any handling and be all over the place. And that's exactly what they were. They started wrecking on about the second lap. But, 3 wide at the line in the finish. What a finish. With Daniel Suarez getting the win by 3/1000th of a second. It's absolutely unreal. It was like 3/1000ths and 5/1000ths over second and third. So that's on the table. The reaction to the race on social has rang from, quote, they need to tear that track up, to, quote, that's the best track on the circuit, to that race was terrible, to it was the best race I ever saw. And, of course, there were many comparisons to the 3-wide finish in the Cars movie. I don't know which one it was. I saw the original Cars movie. I did not see any of them after that with my grandkids. Kyle Busch did not stick his tongue out so that he would win the race. There was plenty of that out there. Alabama went to Lexington and got blasted in a game with what used to be an NBA score. The Cats led at one point by 37 points. Alabama scored the most points by an opponent ever at Kentucky and lost by 22. It was the most points Kentucky had ever scored against a ranked team. They held the tide to just 17 three-point attempts, and that's not good for a Nate Oates coach team. That's the second fewest ever. I think Iona, they were held at 16 threes. They lost that game too. They don't win games when they're held to 17. It's just not it's not their style. And it led to an epic rant by Jeff in the Burrow that was apparently left on our answering machine over the weekend, I think is what it was.
The route in Rupp. Oh, yeah. Wasn't as much as I like 22, but we almost got to 122, and most of you ever give it up. We almost got there, but 117's enough. It's the most Quaker Oats has ever given up in his 5 years at Bama. This is Jeff in the Burrow. Drew, how about them Dukies, huh? How about them Dukies against Wake Forest? I got the coach up here and coach of one of our high schools. He played with the big fundamental. I know you don't know who that is. You've never heard of him because you don't watch the NBA.
Tim Duncan.
But I'll give you a little hint. He wore number 21. You can go back and look in your dictionary, your computer if you got one. And how about Sears and Roebuck? He had a pretty good game. When he was trapped there on the sidelines, he just stayed there about 30 minutes. I was over there. He would have never got out. He'd had to have a 50% off coupon to get out. Sears and Roebuck would have. And where did Quaker Oats get his jacket? I guess it was the House of Sanderson and Mulkey. Can I help you?
Good
Sanderson
jacket.
and Mulkey,
Good jacket.
Apparel. So guess he got that another ugly jacket from Mr. Oates. But y'all got Ole Miss who y'all got Tuesday. So y'all try to get better, and Tennessee maybe will tie you up tonight. And I heard they're coming to Coleman finally. Well, did you finally get hoops finally come game day? Well, great for y'all, isn't it? It's about time. Well, Kentucky rolls as usual. That's why Cal's in the Hall of Fame. And Quaker Oats is just in his world trying to get a nut. So y'all hang in there, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And, Drew, I believe one of your players got injured in a court storming. If you'd have won that ball game, you had to worry about it. See you.
That's better than any phone call he's ever made. I mean, it is. It's better than any phone call that Jeff in the Borough has ever made. He should never call the show again. He should just leave messages. He's getting after Drew. You're getting after Drew. It's hilarious. All right. Kentucky's got 5. Kentucky wins again as usual. They got 5 losses in the SEC. Get out of here. Tennessee did win, though, and tie up Alabama, and now it's going to be a heck of a stretch run. 4 games to go. Alabama and Tennessee at 11-3, South Carolina and Auburn at 10-4, Florida, Kentucky at 9-5, and they shouldn't have any problem. I wouldn't think Alabama would have any problem at Ole Miss on Wednesday night, but that Tennessee game on Saturday night is going to be massive, absolutely massive. And then they got to go to Florida, and then finish up with Arkansas at home. We'll see. I predicted them to be 14-4. So they'd have to go 3-1 down the stretch for that to happen. We'll see. We also got a flat-out goosebump moment that only sports can provide us over the weekend. Patrick Kane, now 35 years old, from Buffalo, New York, returns to Chicago as a member of the hated Detroit Red Wings and scores the game winner in OT. His team mobs him like they won the Stanley Cup. You remember that? They used to win the Stanley Cup every once in a while, those Red Wings. They haven't done it in, 15, 20 years. I'll put the crack research crew on that. They used to win Stanley Cups, but they mobbed them. And the entire crowd is going bonkers in Chicago. Detroit and Chicago fans. Chicago fans a little more reserved. After the teams left the ice, Patrick Kane stays out on the ice and does a lap as the entire arena in Chicago applauds him. It's such a cool, it's way better than a court storming. I can tell you that. It's on my social media. Go check it out at Thom Abraham Show. So cool. It was so cool. What the fans didn't do was storm the ice. Gosh. We had one of those at Wake Forest that resulted in a knee injury to Duke stud Kyle Filipowski. He had to be helped from the court. No word yet how bad he's hurt. I don't think it's too bad. They said they'll know more this afternoon. Man, that was scary, though. I mean, these things are always scary. Remember Caitlin Clark getting knocked down after Iowa was upset by Ohio State last week. Something has to be done with this. Something has to be done with it, about it. Something. And I agree with Jay Billis, who says that the NCAA and the schools really don't want to do anything about it. I mean, I'll let you hear some of the sound on that in a little bit. And Friday afternoon, federal judge Clifton Corker sent out a decision that could change college sports forever. saying that the NCAA could not stop kids from doing NIL deals before they decide where to go to school. Now, it's a temporary injunction because there's a court case that's going to come, but it's based on the fact, his decision was based on the fact that he feels that the attorneys general from Tennessee and Virginia have a good chance of winning their case against the NCAA. So he went ahead and issued the temporary injunction saying that allowing flat-out pay for play. Okay, that's where we're at now. It's just flat-out pay for play. That's how it works. In college sports, as we know it, will never. I mean, we're seeing the end of really. College sports are a uniquely American thing, by the way. They don't have this in Europe and stuff. Those kids, they get out of high school and they go and they become pros. The ones that go to college are the ones that aren't good enough to be pros. And to be honest, that's the way it always used to be in baseball. That's the way it is in hockey. The kids that go to play college baseball and college hockey aren't the best players because the best players get signed to go be pros. It was like that way in basketball for a minute. Then they did the 1-year thing. It's really about college football. Is what this is. This is a very unique thing, and for all intents and purposes, they're pros now too. Thom Luginbill from ABC and ESPN is coming up to help us sort all of that out and what it means for the future. Over there in a little glass room with the slanted ceiling, playing a play doesn't matter, and the stacks of wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air. It's the one. It's the only. It's DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
That Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizzalicious, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, and over the weekend I was watching that Alabama-Kentucky game, and I just knew that at some point, either that day or the next day, whatever, I was going to get an email that there was going to be a voicemail from one Jeff from the Borough. So I immediately, I totally forgot actually yesterday to send it to everybody. I had it in the email, and then I sent it this morning, and actually heard the boys play it too. So that was a bad game for the Crimson Tide for sure.
Yeah, it needed to be played.
I knew he was going to be on some sauce, and he was gonna,
I don't think he was.
He was going to rouse some people.
I don't think he was. I thought he was. As
pretty
far
calm
as that goes. Yeah, I thought he didn't sound hammered to me.
Sounded like Bill Shakespeare.
He sounded like Jeff in the Borough to me. But one of the things that I noted about it is that it was better. He was better as leaving a message than he was on a call.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think he's got more time to prepare. He doesn't know when he's going to get on, he doesn't know what he's going to say.
So Grumpy is watching on WZZN TV, and he's noting that I'm gone with the Bill Belichick look today. Sun's out, guns out.
Cut the sleeves
off. It's a nice
off.
day. It's warm. Yeah, I got the cutoff on.
I just went with the Braves polo, spring training, about to start against the Orioles.
You're dressed much nicer than I am. I'm dressed sloppily
You're at home
today. But I am, I'm
home studio.
I'm not actually. Yeah. I'm across the street from my home.
You're in the studio.
The palatial headquarters of Big Dog Productions across the street from the home. Yeah, right. So I'm over here. All right, yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a lot of good stuff. There was no doubt about it. And there's a lot of things to get to. Not only the Jeff in the Borough message, that's good. And on top of everything else, Grizz, a Japanese angler by the name of Koya Fujita won the season-opening Bassmaster Elite at Toledo Bend over the weekend. Dude speaks very, very, very little English. I cannot put him on the radio. I always have. Now, and I've got to decide what to do. His text, I can text him, and it will translate into Japanese. So what I was thinking of doing is I might text him four questions ahead of time, and have him answer the questions. It'll translate back into English, and then I will interview myself as Koyo Vegeta.
With an AI. Get an AI something or something to
something like that. Or I can get his interpreter on the phone, and try and do it with his interpreter. But, he wins at Toledo Bend over the weekend. The guy is the hottest angler on the planet right now. He's fished 10 of these tournaments. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah.
He's fished 10 tournaments. He's won 2, and he's been in the top 10 6 times. There's 100 pros, right? He's been in the top 10 6 of the 10 tournaments he's fished and won 2. Guy's got to learn some English. He's like the biggest thing going right now. And there's a major controversy raging over the use of this forward-facing sonar
I saw that,
in fishing. And it's just too much. And it hurts the product on TV in a big way. What you're watching when you're watching a fishing tournament now is you're watching on the right side of the screen, they have the guy's sonar, the underwater sonar that looks like to be quite honest with you, it looks like an ultrasound. It looks like when they check my heart with the ultrasound, or when they look for a baby with the ultrasound. I have no idea what's going on in there. You know what I mean? You ever see that? You ever go when you go with the wife and you got the ultrasound technician and they're looking in there and it's stuff and they see, oh yeah, there's the left arm, there's the right arm, there. Oh look, it's got an outboard. It's a boy. I'm like, what are you looking at? All I see is a friggin' amoeba. What are you looking at? Well, that's how it is with the forward-facing sonar. And I have down sonar, and I have 360 sonar on my boat. I don't have the forward-facing sonar. And I watch this stuff, and I don't know what they're looking at. I don't get it. It's hard to, and then they're fishing with these little minnows on a spinning rod. It's gone too far. Maybe it's gone too far. I don't know. It's hard to watch. So you had a Japanese angler win the fishing tournament and a Mexican driver win the NASCAR race. What are we good at anymore? I mean, these are two things that were owned by Southerners. These are things that Southerners excelled at. Bass fishing, NASCAR racing. And we got a Mexican that wins the race and a Japanese guy that wins the fishing tournament.
I
don't know what we're good at anymore. I don't know, Grizz. I don't know what we can do.
I mean, look at basketball. The last 5 MVPs have been out of the United States. So it's just
we can't do that. We can't
get it right at all. MVP is Ronald Acuna.
Let's just be totally politically incorrect and say this: the last, there aren't an American white kid can't play basketball. There's no more American white kid that can play basketball, right? And it's not a race thing because you got these the European white guys that can play. Why is it that the European white guy can play basketball and the American white guy can't? And now, would you say the last 5 MVPs in the NBA have been
out
foreigners?
of the United States? Yeah.
Some people think that Ronald Acuna is the best player in baseball. He was the National League MVP. I mean,
because Mike Trout's not the face of Mike Trout's not the face of baseball. Yeah.
No, yeah. Aaron Judge maybe.
Yeah.
But you've got Ohtani. Ohtani is considered the best baseball player on the planet. And of course he's Japanese. What do we do anymore? That golf. I mean, it's a mixed bag, very international. Everything is so international. And I don't know
football
now with the Suarez kid. I made a quip the other night after the race to my sons, and they said I couldn't say it on the air. I don't know why, because we have to be so politically correct. We can't have a little fun.
We don't need Colin Cowherds around here.
I said that Daniel Suarez, it was more impressive of him winning the race because he had 3 weed whackers and a push mower in the trunk of his car. Now, and you say you can't say that. It's a stereotype. They brought a piñata out, okay? I can't say that. They brought his crew came out with a piñata, and they smashed a piñata out on the car. So we can have some fun. Anyway, all right, let's go break. Come back with your phone calls next. It's Thom Abraham Show, off and running. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Tom Luginbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm here today with Dr. Tracy Lowry of Veracity Vein Center. Now, how does someone suspect they have vein issues?
The most common symptoms associated with vein issues include leg heaviness, aching, and swelling, with some patients having visible veins as well. Vein issues can be easily diagnosed using ultrasound, with treatments performed as an outpatient using the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Both men and women have vein issues, though men may be more likely to ignore their symptoms when they're playing golf or walking the stadium steps. They too will benefit from correction of their vein problem. Patients can contact our clinics in Huntsville and new clinics in Madison and Coleman at 256-715-7151 or visit us at veracosityveincenter.com.
Veracity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday night, expect to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 50s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, a few isolated showers going to be possible mainly in the morning. We'll see mostly clouds throughout the rest of the day. High temperatures going to be topping out in the mid-70s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 35 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Somewhere between heaven and the tall pine trees. Hard land, I'm missing you. Guitar playing through the night. It felt pretty good, I'm feeling alright.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show.
There's one for the price of two.
Segment of the show is brought to you by my friends at TOC, the orthopedic specialist that pretty much every high school in the region uses is TOC Sports. Also, Alabama A&M, the Huntsville Havoc, they all rely on TOC. Doesn't have to be a sports injury. It could be a work accident, or maybe you're just breaking down a little bit. TOC is the right specialist for you. They are North Alabama's largest sports medicine provider. It's TOC Sports. Stay in the game with TOC Sports. All right, I promise you phones. We'll go to the phones on a Reaction Monday, 256-576-4977. I threw a lot of stuff out there on the table for you to munch on. We'll start it off with Natty Danny. What'd you say, Grizz? 2008. So really, it's only been 15 years since the carried one. Going on 16 years since the last time Detroit hosted the Cup. Natty Danny, welcome in. How are you?
Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but you're saying on the air, what do we do well? And I know exactly what we do well if you want to hear it.
But who's the we? Oh, U.S. Yeah, Americans. What do we do well anymore? We can't win the fishing tournament. We can't win the race. We can't win the NBA MVP. We can't be the best player in baseball. Other than football, what do we got? Nothing. Football.
Well, we really can do it really well is blow paint through a straw.
Blow paint through a straw.
Yeah. And lose our computers and buy hookers. I know who that is. That's Joe's son.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It took a while, Tom. You're losing your edge, okay?
I know.
Now, here's the deal. All right, you got an Hispanic and a China won the fishing, right? So for the Hispanic, I'll
Japanese.
say
Japanese, not China.
Por favor, senor, banos. So that means please show me the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then for the China guy,
it's Japanese.
Konnichiwa.
Japanese.
That means hello. Konnichiwa.
Japanese.
Okay, so I covered both bases. So that's what I really called is Tom, start looking over your shoulder. It's coming, baby. It's coming with I'm telling you, Scotty Bowman. And he followed Scotty Bowman. It was a well-learned lesson, and he knew how to run the team. And I'm speaking of Stevie Y. He made the Lightning relevant, winning Stanley Cups. And I'm looking at this team, Tom. I'm going to tell you something. It's that mixture that, Bowman put into place where you got your veterans, the good veterans, and you got the young guys. This team's really looking good. All right, Avalanche. Really good team. Shut them out. Wait, 2-1.
You're gonna make the playoffs at least. Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. I mean, first time in a number of years you're actually gonna make the playoffs. That's good.
Cool your move. Now here we go. I know you've been relevant for a while, but I'm gonna get on that too. Now 2-1 against the Avalanche, and a game overtime. Patrick Kane. That's right. We got good surgeons in Michigan. We got his back looking real good. He's almost at 100%. What's going to happen when he's 100%? And then we punked the Blues 6-1. And last night in their barn, and celebrating Chris Chelios, that also was a Red Wing that won Stanley Cups and was brought to Red Wing by Scotty Bowman, making the team look a lot like what this team is right now when we had the Russians and we bring Chelios, a guy like him, over, okay? I'm telling you, Tom, this guy's a genius, Stevie Eiserman, all right? So anyway, it goes, they're loving Patrick Kane before the game started. Came out a couple times, did a couple quick skating around the rink there. And then, at the end of the game, sure enough, overtime, Patrick Kane. Unbelievable. And then when they were giving Chris Chelios awards, he was speaking. He had to talk about his Red Wings just a little bit because it was very relevant when he played for the Red Wings, winning Stanley Cups. Yeah, a little boo action, but you know what, Tom? Look over your shoulder, my man. I know you're number one, and you're going to be in the playoffs, probably real deep, and maybe you'll get a Stanley Cup. But you better get them now because your cup's not going to be flowing over because ours is. We're coming for you. We're going to punk you.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Natty Danny. He's talking about the Detroit Red Wings, who are now a wild card team, so it looks like they'll make it into the playoffs. And my team that he's talking about is the Bruins, who lead the East along with the New York Rangers with the most points at 81 points, 11 more than the Red Wings. Bruins not playing great. They've lost the last couple of games. Red Wings have won 5 straight. Don't look now, but the Nashville Predators just went on the road and won 5 straight on the road. They're in the playoff mix now. And they're 4 points clear of the St. Louis Blues, but the Blues have a couple of games in hand on them there. So, there's that as well. The Preds with a 5-game, it's the first time in the history of the Nashville Predators that they went on a Western Road swing and won all 5 games. They've never done that before. And the Preds have been around for 25 years. And they've never done that before where they've won all 5 road games. So, maybe a little something is brewing there. A little something going on there. All right. Paulie in the Cape is next. Paulie, welcome to the show. How are you? Paulie.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's going on?
Okay. Well, the only thing we can do is eat hot dogs on 4th of July. We haven't lost that throne yet. We can still eat hot dogs.
Back-to-back World War champs.
Well, I don't know. It used to be Kobayashi used to win that all the time. But now we win that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then, for a while, the Little League Baseball World Series always won by Taipei. Remember that stretch for a while?
Yeah.
So I think the Philadelphia team did it, or the Texas team broke the streak. So there's a reason why we're losing out on the baseball issue. Basketball, we introduced it to all the other third world countries, and they make cheap sneakers for us, so that's why they become better. They can make better sneakers. But as far as thing with the piñata, I was going to say, did you notice after that fisherman guy wins the tournament, there's a little sushi stand on the side by the dock. His brother runs it. Yeah.
Sushi stand. By the way, I kept trying to tell Wolverine Dan. He kept saying a Chinese guy. It's a Japanese guy, not a Chinese guy. Don't confuse Japan with China.
Well, he stuck his favorite scene from King of the Hills when he goes, "Are you Chinese or are you Japanese?" And the guy goes, "I'm Laotian." And the buddy goes, "Ocean? What ocean?" And then he goes, "It's a landlocked country in Southeast Asia, you jerk." And they'll look at each other, and he'll go, "So, are you Chinese or are you Japanese?" It's one of my favorite scenes from King of the Hill. That one episode is just brutal. But the Yankees throw a little power out there so they can still hit the long ball. That's why they call him the Bronx Bomber.
How about, Juan Soto with a home run in his first at-bat for the Yankees, or his first game for the Yankees, a little oppo job, which is what he does. Everybody thinks that Juan Soto is going to go to New York and hit 50 home runs because he's a left-handed batter. He does not pull the ball. I mean, he is an opposite field home run guy. In fact, they said that last year – I think he hit 30. I'll have to put the research team on that. I think he hit 30 or something like that for San Diego. But they said if he was in Yankee Stadium last year, he would only have had 21 home runs because he does not pull the ball. And, so that's something. And then that kid, I'm excited about Spencer Jones. How about that kid? I mean, they say he's going to be in Double-A. This is the kid from Vanderbilt who's got all kinds of power, and he hit a big bomb in his first spring training game with the big club. I'm excited about that kid.
Yeah. It's looking all good. We just need some pitching to hold up.
Pitching.
But the last thing I'm going to say is that if anybody saw the news, when they asked the AI computer, can you show me 1942 Nazi soldiers? And they showed a Chinese soldier, a black stormtrooper soldier, and like a Spanish-looking, but not the Aryan race, Nazi soldier. And I keep telling it, and you keep laughing. But that's just one niche in the movie Rollerball where the history is deleted from the main computer. You know, if someone woke up,
we would all like to delete the Nazis. You know, if we could delete the Nazis, then it would be a good thing.
But the point I'm making is that if someone woke up today, some kid that's in 6th grade who had to do a homework report on World War II, and pulled up and said, "Well, wait a minute, there were black Nazi soldiers, huh?"
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah,
and then they just admitted that almost over half of the AI software is written with how many white reference to history. So
yeah, but look, they change. Look, it's not just AI; it's people. Look, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Look, I'm going to be totally honest with you, okay? And I don't want to get political, but I will for a second.
No.
Yeah. The AP wrote a story. You know, the girl that got killed jogging at the university or around in Athens, Georgia, right by the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
The story, they wrote a story talking about how dangerous it is for females to go jogging by themselves, to go running by themselves, and how it's dangerous for them to be out there and everything else. They never mention the fact that the guy that killed her is an illegal immigrant who has been arrested 3 times. It just says Athens resident. He's an Athens resident because he's there, but he's an illegal immigrant who shouldn't even be in this country, who's been arrested 3 times. That's who. So maybe running for women, running is dangerous by themselves in the park, especially if we're going to allow all these illegal immigrant criminals to come into our country. How about that?
Yeah, but and they blame it on her habits.
They're blaming it on her.
Blaming this all on her.
Yeah, it's her fault.
Wants to stay. The girl wants to stay fit, likes to jog, stay fit, and and then go to work or whatever. She's going to school or whatever, and then some creep kills her because he's waiting for her, ambushed her, or found out that this is a favorite trail of college students to run. So he sat there, picked the right time, found, unfortunately, the unlucky person, and then we're supposed to blame her because she decided she wanted to go for a jog in the beautiful state of Georgia. And then there's people going, yes, that dumb girl. What was she thinking?
Yeah, it's not her fault.
It's coming,
I mean,
I'm telling you, this country's coming to an end. When you're starting to see that, they're blaming the person that died for making a bad decision. And what was it? She did what? She went for a jog.
Yeah, she went for a jog.
And then you got the guy, and to end it on this note, then you got a guy going on Facebook or TikTok going, hey, I'm living here free on your dime, and you guys are idiots for paying taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, I hope people realize that he's saying that to the United States, not just U.S. Republicans or U.S. conservatives. They're talking. Those guys are flipping the finger and laughing at us, the U.S. citizens, how idiotic we are turning into.
Right.
And no one wants to admit it. No one wants to open up their mouth and say, oh, my God, what is he trying to say? Like when that guy gave the finger after he got arrested, hey, I like to go to Vegas for free. Those 2 guys got on a plane or a train or a bus and got over to the West Coast for free. I like to catch that ride to Vegas.
Yeah.
Anybody can help me out? How those 2 other guys that got in that kicked the cops disappeared and were found in California like that? Yeah. They took off and were able to move across the country for free. I want to know how they did that so I can go to Vegas every year for free.
Well, keep in mind, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. It's been, to a certain extent, it's been like this for years. There's been heinous stuff going on for years. It's all exasperated now because of social media. The social media thing now exasperates everything. It makes everything worse. It's true. All right, we get a break. We'll come back. More of your phone calls. I see this is what, it's Reaction Monday, and so now you're going to react to whatever it is from over the weekend. And now you can react to the race, you can react to the basketball, you can react to the, whatever it is that you saw from over the weekend. And this is, sometimes we'll go down a rat hole, just the way it is. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
No payments for 90 days on 23 and 24 models. Financing as low as 0% and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 47 years in a row. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's Truck Month, the time of the year to get the best deals on F-150, Explorer, Bronco, Edge, Bronco Sport, and Escape. During Truck Month, get financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on 2023 F-150 Crew Cabs, and lease payments as low as $375 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $62.82 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. Offer ends 2/29/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, we have over 40 Bronco Sports and nearly 50 Explorers and about a dozen full-size Broncos, all with great sales incentives and no payment for 90 days. Truck Month only happens once a year. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list, and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with two $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com to order. And don't forget frozen custard for dessert. Cheeseburger Bobby's, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive, Huntsville, and at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday night, expect to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 50s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, a few isolated showers going to be possible mainly in the morning. We'll see mostly clouds throughout the rest of the day. High temperatures going to be topping out in the mid-70s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 35 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sports Talk 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Doesn't anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show. I really don't want to give anybody this segment of the show because they're not responsible for whatever it is that's going to come out of my mouth. But we'll give it to North Alabama Mortgage. We're in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. North Alabama Mortgage has you covered for all your mortgage needs. And if you're like Badger Larry and you're loaded and you're thinking about getting a second home, maybe one down on the lake or up in the mountains or down on the beach or something like that, they have got great programs to help you make that happen. And the rates are already coming down, and they'll probably continue to come down. But don't put off that new home purchase right now, because as the rates get lower and lower, the home prices are going to go up. So make your best deal right now. Buy that house and refi when the rates come down. It's that simple. You can learn all about it with North Alabama Mortgage at NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. The other thing that took off over the weekend with the spring training getting underway in its full extent, with everybody playing over the weekend, not just the Dodgers and the Padres, who are going to, for some inexplicable reason, open the baseball season opening day. That's another thing. All right, we can't fish anymore. Apparently, we can't win a race anymore. We can't win the MVP in the basketball anymore. And now we're taking opening day of Major League Baseball season to Korea. We're going to have opening day in Korea. All right, that's a true story, people. March 22nd and 23rd, Dodgers and Padres playing 2 regular season games. Opening day of baseball will be in Korea, okay? We'll play 2 games there. They'll come back and play 5 more spring training games. I mean, it's asinine. Okay, I want to get started on that again. Well, what happened over the weekend was Tony Clark, the head of the MLBPA, and is taking more complaints from the players about the uniforms. And now it's not about the thin, flimsy jerseys, and it's not about the fact that the names on the back of the jerseys are these little tiny names that make them look like replica jersey. They got little 2-inch letters on the back of the jersey. It looks so ridiculous. It's not about that. It's about the fact that the pants are see-through. The pants, you can't customize the pants. You get one of 4 different styles of pants. Fat guy, skinny guy, whatever. The pants, you can't have your pants made custom like they did in the past. And they're see-through. The material is so thin with the white pants that you can see the shirt tail tucked in. It looks like a diaper. You can see the little labels and things like that. And the guys got to make sure that they wear pants underneath the pants, or they got to wear some kind of compression thing underneath the pants. And in one case, several of the wives have been kind of giggling and laughing at their husbands wearing these see-through pants. Yeah. And there was one player from the Giants that was they took a picture of him at the photo shoot with their uniforms, and he's sitting on a stool, and the pants are a little bit tight in the crotch area. And let's just say you could tell what religion he is. I mean, the pants are so tight. The marbles are fully on display. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Days of wrestling.
So there's that. Badger Larry is up next. Badger Larry, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good, Tommy. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic, but I don't have see-through pants on, so
that's a good thing. I can tell you
that's
that.
a good thing. Yeah, got that right.
Hey, speaking of the media, how bad is the announcers now with NASCAR? Oh my goodness, that was awful. First of all, Dale Jr.'s already complaining about the tight camera shots at the end of the race, where they're not showing everything that's going on. But I thought I just thought the announcing was terrible too.
Well, Mike Joy is outstanding. Okay, I think Mike Joy's the best play-by-play guy. He's very, very good, Mike Joy. Kevin Harvick's just getting his feet wet. I think he'll be better. I've never been much of a Clint Boyer fan. I wish Dale Jr. Had jumped over. His contract is up with NBC, and so I wish he had jumped over. Now, NBC's booth is much worse, in my opinion, much worse. But, yeah, the coverage, they do – Fox is known for its in-tight shots, and sometimes you want a little broader shot so you can kind of see what's going on there. But I think Mike Joy is really good himself. The play-by-play.
Well, whoever was talking at the end there, speaking of the subjects you've been on, but after the race, they're talking about how popular it's going to be that Suarez won.
Nah,
I thought,
that's
I
crazy.
told my son, I said, "Oh yeah, that's a real popular win for NASCAR." I don't think so. Then I told my son, "Well, wait a minute now. With the border situation going on, maybe it is more popular than I thought."
Maybe. Well, that's his second win. He won out in California once. It's his first win on a super speedway. He's from Monterrey, Mexico. It was funny if you listen to the interview afterwards. He said he was thanking everybody, and he wanted to thank his manufacturer, Chevrolet. He says, "I want to thank a Chevrolet, my manufacturer." I said, "Oh, he's running a Chevrolet. Okay, I didn't know that he was running a Chevrolet." There's a lot of jokes to be had there, but he's a good guy. Apparently, everybody likes him, and that's fine. But that's not something that's gonna, they ran a race in Mexico City several years ago. They ran an Xfinity race down there in Mexico City. God, it had to be 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't have to put the research crew on that. But they ran an Xfinity race down there. And I joked about how the cars, it had like a hopping in the front. They were going to go down the front stretch and they were bouncing, doing that kind of stuff. Fuzzy dice and, the fringe on the, but nobody thought that was funny then. Yeah.
At least on the other hand, we did have a bouncer from L.A. win the Mexican golf tournament. So that's a good thing.
Oh, really? So we had an American win the Mexican golf tournament. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the Mexican Open yesterday, and the PGA Tour event was by another first-year guy, Knapp.
Who's the best golfer in the world right now?
He was a bouncer 2 years ago.
Who would you say is the best golfer in the world right now? John Rahm, Rory? They're all Europeans. I don't know. Scotty Scheffler,
I think still,
but he can't putt. He can't make a putt to save his life right now. So I don't know. If
Rory gave him the key to it. If he needs to change his putter to get away from the blade and go the other way and see what happens. So, let's hope that he does something like that anyway. So, all right, brother.
Good job.
Have a good one.
Badger Larry. Grizz, what am I doing right now? I got my clock in my head messed up. I'm usually got my clock in my head. Can I take a break here and then come back and wrap it up?
No, the time's about to hit. No, we're taking to the top. Yeah, because we're actually going to have.
How much time do I got? I want to tell a Patrick Kane story if I had any time.
You got a minute.
Oh, I do have a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. My Patrick Kane story is this. He's 35 years old now. When Patrick Kane was about 20, he was just a kid, right? And he was playing. I was doing pregame. So 15 years ago would be what, 2008 maybe? About 2008. So I was doing pregame for the Predators, and I had Patrick Kane on a show. They had the Chicago Blackhawks were in town, and I had Patrick Kane on. I had recorded an interview with them. And afterwards, before we were talking during the commercial break, and he asked me if I had a hookup for him and Taylor Swift. He's like, he says, you're there in Nashville. You're on the radio in Nashville. Do you know Taylor Swift? I said, no, I don't know Taylor Swift. he says, anyway, because he was 20. He says, we're going to be there. We're coming there. He goes, I really want to meet Taylor Swift. Her and I are the same age. And he wanted to meet Taylor Swift. So Patrick Kane asked me to hook him up.
He missed out.
With Taylor Swift. No.
Sorry, she dates football players.
I told him, she was 20 at the time, so she was even crazier than she is now. I said, she's kind of bat bleep crazy, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think you want any part of that little girl. All right, hour number one's in a can. When we come back, Thom Luginbill will join us. We'll talk college football next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Christine Lisi. The Bengals have positioned themselves to keep receiver T. Higgins for at least one more season, officially placed the franchise tag on him. The sides have until July 15th to work out a long-term deal, or Higgins plays in 2024 on the $21.8 million franchise tag. Higgins and Jamar Chase, one of the NFL's top receiver tandems. Chase is extension eligible with Cincinnati this offseason. On the I Am Athlete podcast, quarterback Russell Wilson said he still hopes he can finish his career in Denver. Also said, though, for him, it's about winning. Over the next 2 years, he wants to win 2 Super Bowls. There's been widespread speculation the Broncos, who benched Wilson late last season, will release him in the weeks to come. With that, Denver would take on $85 million in dead money against its salary cap next season and need a quarterback 2 years after trading for Wilson.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Our zone deal this week is $50 worth of Full Moon Barbecue from our Huntsville location for half price, just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com beginning Friday morning to score this incredible deal from Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco, the best little pork house in Alabama.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
If those high utility bills have you seeing high numbers, make sure you give our good friends over at Talent Heating and Air a call today. They can save you some money.
That's right. We're doing one of our biggest specials ever. It's $2,000 off select units.
That's $2,000 off.
And free service calls for first responders and veterans.
Free service calls.
That's right. For the month of February, we're trying to take care of these first responders, all they do for us, and the veterans, obviously, as well.
It's Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call today at
256-503-4490.
Or you can find them online to save the money
at talenthvac.com.
It's Talent Heating and Air. One more time.
talenthvac.com. AL cert number 21014.
It's Talent Heating and Air. Give them a call to save money today.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
The best place to get 50s diner-style homemade delectables is Bubby's Diner. Located at 8412 Whitesburg Drive Southeast, try their all-new expanded breakfast menu with homemade waffles, omelets, and shrimp and grits. With 3 generations of experience, Chris Bubby Belcher has the best burgers in town. Don't forget to leave without a homemade pie or a hand-spun milkshake. Give Bubby's a call today at 256-513-8080. Bubby's Diner, home of the donut burger.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by the service department at Woody Anderson Ford. And they are not only the experts in service of Fords, but other makes. They also use genuine Ford Motorcraft parts on every Ford service job, from tire rotations to wheel alignment, brake job, oil changes, engine tune-ups, training work. It's all done at the service department and the Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center at Woody Anderson Ford. They bring us Tom Luginbill all throughout the football season, and there was so much going on with college football that I felt like, can I reach out to Lugs here and grab him for a minute? And he graciously agreed to come on and talk about some of the issues that are out there. And since the time I contacted him, that was when the judge's ruling came down about NIL. And then we had the court storming incident over the weekend that injured a player for Duke. And so Lugs becomes even more and more relevant. And he joins us now, not only on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, but he is also on WZZN TV. So those of you that are watching the show on YouTube and other platforms can see it there. Tommy, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, man. I chuckle not because I agree with it or disagree with it, and I certainly don't want anybody to get injured. But, I was a part of a big field storming deal with Duke and Clemson week 1 on Labor Day night this past fall. And, it's interesting. I laugh because in that particular instance, and I feel like, the really strong academically geared schools are probably the only ones that are going to conduct themselves like this. But when I was in that moment and I was standing on the sideline, that wasn't just a field rush by Duke's student section. Those students were on the field, on the sideline with 3 minutes to go in the game. Like, it wasn't like they just jumped over the wall, but their decorum and their polite way of doing it, not one of those kids stepped on the field until that clock went to 0. Not one. And so I seen what's happened with Caitlin Clark. I saw what happened with Duke, and obviously, the players belong there. The fans don't. And so much of this is based off of personal accountability, right? And right now, we're not necessarily in a place in our society where personal accountability is priority number 1. But in this type of scenario, that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Your colleague, Jay Billis, was outstanding on this morning with Mike Greenberg, and he was talking about how it is very, very dangerous. He said just what you said. The players belong on the quarter of the field. The fans do not belong on the quarter of the field. But he said we, meaning the media, we need to take some responsibility with this as well as the universities, and it's not going to stop because the universities don't want it to stop. They take pictures of it, they put the photographs up in the locker room, and it goes viral. And then on ESPN they show it every single time, and it becomes part of the story, and it's glorified. And if the kids see it being glorified, they're going to want to do it at their earliest convenience. And whether it's $100,000 fine like LSU got for storming the court against after they beat Kentucky, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
The next one will be $250,000. The next one after that will be $500,000. They don't seem to care. It seems to be that there's endless money to write these checks. So I thought Billis's take that the media and the schools are partly responsible for this, because you could, especially in the case of basketball, you could just ring that court and give a citation or arrest every single person on that court, before they leave the court, but it is interesting to think that, maybe we're a little bit responsible for this.
Yeah, and listen, the risk outweighs the fine if you're the school, right? Because you're going to sit there and you're going to say, well, I mean, we're going to plaster this all over our locker rooms and all of our operations buildings, and we're going to put it on pamphlets that we're sending to recruits and the whole 9 yards. And to be honest with you, like from a football perspective, we've moved to the point now where we're making the goalposts mechanical. Like they fold down so you can't climb up on them, and a pole can't come down. I mean, God forbid that happen at some point. One of those poles coming down with the weight of 5-6 students on it hits somebody in the head and tragically kills them. I'm actually surprised something like that hasn't happened before. And so, yeah, I mean, is there plenty of blame to go around from a glorification standpoint? Probably. But again, going back to personal accountability, I think if there could be one understanding, that is, you can't touch the players. That's the problem. When you start buzzing the tower of a player or you bump into a player, and then it gets really crowded. I mean, football's different because you have two 85-man rosters on each sideline, a massive playing surface, but sometimes you might have 5, 6, 7 times the crowd. I mean, you look at Tennessee when they beat Alabama and Josh Heupel's first or second year? I mean, how much crowd control could you have and actually stop that? You couldn't.
Well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Yeah, exactly. And then that's one thing with the players, but just the fans. We saw that fight that broke out in that game, in a handshake line, in a basketball game, in a handshake line in Texas just a couple of weeks ago, and that got ugly and it ended up all over the court. And what I'm terrified about is a football game, very highly charged, emotional football game at a place where you get a decent number of fans from both sides, and you wonder at what point in time are we going to have. I mean, literally, at kick 6, I was there for kick 6. I was on the air when it happened. At kick 6, there were literally, it had to be 20,000 people on the field, 15,000 people. Yeah. It felt like that many on the field because it was wall to wall. At what point in time is a brawl going to break out? And then what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How do you stop a riot if these kids start swinging and both sides come out on the field, and there's going to be more of the home base than there is the visitor base, and there's going to be a flat-out brawl. Then what do we do? I mean, it could be really dangerous.
And then, let's not forget that there's likely going to be a heavy amount of alcohol involved, all right? You also, in the sport of football, you're going to have equipment that can be used literally as a weapon, all right, if this involved players and fans. And then on top of it, let's call it what it is. The sheer size of the football player versus the sheer average size of a student is there danger inherent there? No question about it. Do I think it's also a magical part of the game visually to see the exuberance and the excitement and the celebration and all of those sorts of things that go along with what makes college athletics great? Yeah, do I want to lose that? No, but it seems like we've gone on this run here where it just seems to be happening way too often. And it's weird because as we sit here and say that, if you look at Clemson's fan base, when they win at home, they rush the field. It doesn't matter if it's against the Citadel or if it's against Florida State. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets bumped into. They don't have any issues. It's almost like, well, we just know how to act. It was like Duke's fans and students when they rushed the field behind me.
Well, it's like Alabama. On the other hand, they take pride in the fact that they've never rushed the field. Because if you rush the field, are you surprised you won the game? Why are you surprised you won the game? You expect to win the game, so why would you rush the field? Thom Luginbill with us here. All right, the reason I originally wanted to call you, we got two things college football-wise I want to get into, but the original call was about the desire to try and move, this effort to try and move the early signing date. You and I have debated this and talked about this over the years, and we got to do something about the early signing date. And I was almost of the mindset, let's just go back to February. It's off season, whatever. But it seems to be the thing that has changed so much has been so many players are now on campus, in mid-year, that if you have a 25, man recruiting class, 18 to 20 of those kids are on campus in January. So you want to get them in there early. They're talking about moving it and separating the overlap from portal. Maybe you move it to earlier in December. And myself, as a former coach, you were a former coach, I can't in my mind even comprehend what it would be like to be having this kind of level of recruiting going on during the season. And that's what it would be, even in early December. It's during the season. It's almost like you got to do it like the pros and have a general manager and a staff that are responsible for player personnel and leave the coaches alone. These college coaches are involved in recruiting. I don't know what the answer is. Could it be done in August or July and let them sign then before their senior year and give them a window if the staff leaves? I don't know. What's your thought?
So to your last point, and I know a lot of people have proposed, we'll let them sign before the season even starts, and then everybody will be tucked into the blanket and everything will be fine, and they'll get it out of the way, and that'll clear everything up. And on the surface, I think there's some validity to that. But when you start peeling back the layers, and you just touched on a couple of things. Number one, high school coaches are scared to death of that, and they should be, because guess what? That kid's going to go on cruise control, or a lot of kids will go on cruise control. There's no motivation for them to play, and if they've already signed the letter of intent,
they might not play at all
to actually participate. They
Right.
could just skip, right?
Right.
We've already started to see some of that. The whole, where does it end? Is if the head coach leaves, do you get to be let out of the letter of intent? If your position coach leaves, do you get to be let out of your letter of intent? What if the coaching staff's all still there, but you went from a 9-3 team that you committed to and had a horrible year, and you're all of a sudden 1-11? Do you let them out for that? I mean, there's a lot to unpack there with the pre-training camp signing period. I don't know if that will ever fly, because I do think the college coaches and the administrators in college would like to protect high school football and high school football coaches in that regard. I don't blame them. Now, listen, the one thing that gets talked about with, how do we move the signing period to lessen up, the congestion of the third week in December. But nobody's following up the fact that the other way that you do this is you stop allowing a 30-day transfer portal window. You do not need 30 days to be in the transfer portal. I'm sorry. Either you've been tampered with, which is the biggest problem right now in college athletics, and you already know where you're going before you even entered your name in the transfer portal, or you haven't. And I can assure you that if you haven't been tampered with and you go into the portal and that phone's not ringing within the first 72 hours to a week, you're going to know what your market value is. You are. You're just going to know, hey, listen, maybe I'm not what I thought I was. Maybe I need to go back here, so on and so forth. But we could take that first signing period, move it to that first Wednesday in December, right before championship weekend. And Thom, I would actually disagree a little bit in the sense that these coaches are already inundated during the season when they have to hold official visits with multiple recruits on game weekends. The doing a Wednesday before championship week would be probably a lot less strenuous and stressful than that. Then after championship week, so now your signing day is done. Championship week, you do a week-long transfer portal. Now it's done. You go into bowl season. You go into the expanded college football playoff. All the hay's in the barn. You come off of the college football playoff. You resume the month of late January and go into that first week of February and wrap a bow on everything. But then you've at least split it into sections where each one of those things can be identified and dealt with instead of bleeding all three of them together. Oh, by the way, you're preparing to play for a college football playoff.
Yeah, by the way, is right. With at least 12 teams in a couple of years, and it's going to be expanded to probably 16 as well. Thom Luginbill with us here. All right, so then that brings us to the decision that came down to East Tennessee. on Friday afternoon that opened up NIL and said that, look, it's an injunction. I know there's going to be a case, but when a judge issues an injunction like that, what he's saying is that you got a pretty good chance of winning this thing. So from now forward, until this case is settled, you can't stop a kid from negotiating for NIL to go to a particular school. Now, I wonder, and of course that affects transfer portal because now that's that much more movement. But I wonder if this didn't open up a different window. And just follow me. If you now are telling the collectives and telling the kid that they can negotiate with a collective to specifically go to a school, in return, why can't the collectives now be signing these kids to 3-year contracts and saying, you know what? Here is the deal. We negotiate a deal with you or your agent or your representative or whatever, but we're only doing this if you sign a 3-year deal for $4 million or whatever it happens to be. And then this way it'll cut down a little bit of the movement, because if it's all going to be, if they're pros anyway now, because that's what they are, if they're signing contracts now, why can't they be somehow held to some accountability to stay at the school? Why are they free agents every year? That's where the problem comes in. What do you think?
That is where the problem comes in, and that's where we are going to be. Whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's eventually where we're going to end up, because it's the only way to remain out of court in any type of antitrust lawsuit, which means you have to make them employees. So why haven't they done that now? Because they haven't figured out how to move away from the scholarship model and move to employment, whether it's 1099, whether it's W-4, W-2, what have you. What do we do? Do we blend the scholarship and what's afforded in that scholarship into the contract of being an employee? Do we completely remove the scholarship model and we're saying, no, you know what? This is what the deal is, and you're going to get benefits. You're going to have a 401k, and you're going to get health insurance. You're going to get life insurance and dental insurance, and then you're going to have performance standards. You're going to have morality codes and conducts into those contracts. You're not going to be able to sit out games anymore. All right, you are going to have to be locked in for a certain amount of time. Oh, and if you do want to transfer, okay, you're going to have to give something up in return. See, that's where I don't like the argument where people say, oh, well, a coach gets to leave whenever he wants and not have to be accountable for anything. That's not true. There's a buyout.
Yeah.
That not only do they have a buyout, depending on the contract they sign, part of it might be their own private money.
Right.
So, there is something that has to be given up here. So essentially, if you were to equate this to the NFL, because the path you're going down is correct, just nobody's figured out how to quite get there to jump into the deep end. What we are doing right now, if you applied this to the NFL model, we would be essentially saying that there would be no collective bargaining agreement between NFL ownership and between their players. There would be no union. There would be nothing the player would have to do to be accountable for where he's at. He could sign an NIL contract and never do a darn thing to earn it, and they still have to pay him. Why? Because they're not employees, and you can't put performance stipulations into the contract. Can you imagine applying that to the National Football League? It would never, ever, ever, ever happen, because you have to have some semblance of order. Nobody's saying that the players don't have rights. Nobody's saying that the university and the coaches shouldn't have rights. But it can't be an all or nothing proposition. If the coaches have acknowledged, and they have, that, hey, we're not putting the pace back in the tube. NIL is here to stay. The transfer portal scenario is here to stay. But right now, there is nothing holding the player or the player having to give up something if he decides to make that move. That's the issue that everybody has a problem with. It would be like telling Patrick Mahomes, okay, well, you can go out on the open market right now, shop yourself around to the rest of the league, take the biggest deal. And by the way, when you leave and you sign that deal, you don't owe anything to the Kansas City Chiefs. You just go, and there's no penalty. There's nothing that you are responsible for, right? And that's not the real world. So that's where we have to get to a point where we make these kids employees, and then when they sign contracts, they're going to have to uphold the validity of the contract and what's been put in writing. And if they don't, they're going to have to give something up.
Yeah. Well, it's not even. We got to stop. We're going to have to get rid of this NIL term either, because it has nothing to do with name, image, and likeness. They're not going to the car wash anymore. They're not having to go show up at the. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just pay for play. It's pay for play, and then if you want to additionally do a autograph signing deal or whatever, that's separate. You can earn money like a pro, like in any other way. The other problem that we're going to have to unravel here, and this is a uniquely American problem. I was explaining this earlier. College sports isn't a thing anywhere else in the world. I mean, it's really not a big deal. College sports is an American thing, and even within within America, this is really a football issue. Basketball, they're only committed for 1 year, and at one point in time they weren't at all. They might not be at all. Again, baseball players, the best players are still drafted out of high school. They go right to the pros. Hockey, they go right to the pros. So what we're dealing with is a football issue. And then how do we carve this out of this whole Title IX thing? What are we going to do with all these other athletes? That girl that Olivia Dunn, she makes millions for NIL because she's cute and she looks good in spandex. So she makes money. She's a gymnast at LSU, right?
And good for her.
Good for her. And nobody cared. That's a true NIL thing. Nobody cares whether or not she's leading LSU gymnastics to championships. They only care that she sells spandex. You know what I mean? So that's a true NIL deal. But what are we going to do with all of the other athletes on campus and even within the team? Because like you say, there's 85 scholarship kids. At some point in time, these people who have been paying these NIL deals, they're going to – don't you think at some point they're all going to peel back a little bit and say, okay, what are we really getting for this? We all got hot and bothered. We could give kids money. But now they might start realizing, these smart businessmen, that, this is kind of a waste of money. We're not getting anything for this. What are we getting for this? And, so there's just so many layers to this thing.
So, Tom, I think that part hasn't quite manifested itself just yet, but it's going to. Because look at the NFL draft. There's 32 teams. They all have one pick in the first round. And guess what? They miss on that one guy 50% of the time. Now, imagine having to bring in 25 17-year-olds. You know what the likelihood is that any one of those kids is going to pan out at all and actually be as advertised, actually be what you think you're paying for? It is an extremely low number. So sooner or later, you're throwing bad money after good over and over and over again. And I don't care if you have the deepest pockets and endless wealth. Sooner or later, you're going to get tired of losing money, right? I mean, that's kind of the nature of the beast. But right now, we haven't seen the downside of that because I think the market's been overinflated. That will level itself off, too, when you start having more and more of these kids. As long as they're not employees, we're going to have more and more kids taking money to get paid, okay? Not perform, not produce, not earn the money that they were provided in name, image, and likeness, then they're going to fizzle out and they're going to transfer. All right.
Well,
so how many cycles can you go through of that before people start realizing we better start holding the athlete to the standard of a contract, and the only way to do that again is to go to employment.
All right, and then to wrap it up, here's where the final shoe drops, and everything's on the table now. I mean, this has all happened so fast, and the demise of the Pac-12, all of this stuff that's going on. So here's when the other shoe drops. What happens when Dwayne Johnson and the UFL and Daryl Johnston and those guys say, you know what, screw it. We'll take kids out of high school. We'll expand to 16 teams or 18 teams, whatever. We'll expand to 16 teams. We're going to be a true pro league. And you know what? We're going to be like minor league baseball and minor league hockey. You don't want to go play for a college. We'll give you $50,000 a year. You sign a contract and you go and play in a developmental league for 2 or 3 years before you go into the NFL draft. What happens when they break through that wall of you can't go to the NFL until after your third year in a league that is like the UFL, that is a startup league, basically, for all intents and purposes, says we'll start taking those star high school players that really don't want to go to college anyway. Then what?
Well, are you saying or assuming that on a 50, let's just say a 45 to 50 man roster, that would likely have 3/4 of that roster be the age of 25 or older? Maybe guys have played in the NFL for 2 to 3 years. And if that's what you're saying the rosters are going to be comprised of, I'll tell you what would happen. You're going to have some epic injuries, and you're going to have some people really, really, really get hurt.
I wonder if it could go the other way, though. You know what I mean? I wonder if it would become a younger league. I wonder if the league becomes a 18 to 23-year-old league. You know what I mean? 18 to 24-year-old league, and it's that kind of a league. In other words, making college sports, instead of playing for Alabama, I'm going to play for Birmingham, the Birmingham Stallions. You know what I mean? Like they do in Europe. You know, I mean, the whole system is on the line now. You know, it feels like everything is on the line.
It is, and you're right. I mean, that would kind of be the equivalent of when the USFL came out, right? And talked to all these guys.
So Herschel Walker
playing USFL. There was a lot of money thrown around, and we'd all, you know, whether it was Reggie White, whether it was Jim Kelly, whether it was Doug Flutie, whether it was Herschel Walker, got a lot of great football players in that deal. But I don't know, until a league like the UFL or any type of supplemental football league is a viable revenue-producing product, they would not be able to compete financially with collectives at the highest level of major college football.
So it'd be
or they
more
go bankrupt.
So Nico, it'd be more advantageous for Nico to go play for Tennessee than to go play for the Memphis Showboats.
Absolutely,
basically.
It is.
Yeah. They wouldn't have that kind of dough. All right, before I let you go, it says Matter of Pride. I'm seeing that on the top of the T-shirt. Back up, show us the rest. Is that a high school? I see a helmet. Oh, it's Eastern Kentucky, your old school. He said Eastern Kentucky booster. So how much are you paying for some kid, some 3-star kid to go to Eastern Kentucky? They could have gone to Kentucky, but now he's going to go to Eastern because Thom Luginbill Collective is paying the kid.
Zero, but my son's going there, so now I'm a fan.
Oh, okay. So, or booster says booster though. You're a booster.
That's our booster club of our former football alumni. It's a matter of pride. It's one of the slogans that Roy Kidd had come up with during his tenure of 40 years at EKU, and so it's something that me, all my teammates, all the guys that we've stayed in contact for 25, 30 years. Continue to give to try to help grow the program as football alumni. So
what do you mean
I happen to have it on today.
What do you mean your son is going there? When did they start letting 12-year-olds go to college? The last time I saw your kid was at SEC Media Days, and he was like 4 foot tall. He was 8 years old, I think.
6'1", 220-pound long snapper. So he's ripping it pretty good. Yeah,
there you go. Long snapping that was my path. Ashland College, baby, 1978. Ashland College. But that's a whole other story. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the little extra time.
Sure.
Are you excited for spring football? I mean, pro spring football? What you've seen out of this whole XFL division and USFL division and the way they've structured this? I wish there was a few more teams, but I like that everybody's playing in their own stadiums.
Yeah, I'm extremely optimistic about it. And I think they put their heads together and they realized, hey, we got to take the best performing organizations in the cities with the greatest following and the greatest fan support. And, there's no teams west of Texas. And so you've got good televised windows, right? And then I kind of like what they did. They create a new name for the league, but then they have an XFL division and a USFL division. And so I think that's kind of cool. I think it's got great opportunities. By and large, most of the XFL rules have been the ones that will be brought over and adopted. As opposed to the USFL rules outside of a tweak here or there. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how each league stacked up with their best, performing teams from a year ago. Who gets guys coming back, right? Like A.J. McCarron's coming back to St. Louis and to play for Anthony Beck. So that should be fun to see how these teams go around in year 2.
I thought it was ironic that their NFL is talking about potentially experimenting with the XFL kickoff, but the UFL has now decided that they're going to use the USFL kickoff and kick off from the 20-yard line. I liked the XFL kickoff, and and I thought it was interesting that the NFL is going to play around with that possibly. Yet the UFL is not going to use that anymore. I kind of wish they were still using that one.
Yeah, I tell you, I enjoyed it too throughout the XFL just because that's the most dangerous play in all of football, right? And you still have the excitement of having a return. You just tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit more advantageous to maintain health and security.
I wish the bottom 8 players from each NFL team, though, would be able to go and play. I wish they can get the union together on that and take those guys on the 85-man roster, those free agents and stuff like that third quarterback, and let them go play in the spring and let them get some reps.
See, that's originally what
the
they
Alliance
should have done with NFL Europe.
Yeah,
and they
right.
didn't do it that way. They structured NFL Europe differently than that, and that's the way they should have done that.
Yeah, each of these 8 teams could have one division of NFL, and each supply 8 players, and then you're developing players. But the union said, "Oh no, they can't have that many practices." I'm like, "Oh, come on, you got to practice football to play football. You got to play football, All right, Lugs, I appreciate you, man. Good stuff. That was like 2 segments in one, and we covered a lot of ground. Thom Luginbill has been our guest. Tell them where they can find you or see you or follow you on the social media between now and the next time your face shows up on TV.
Well, at Thom Luginbill on Instagram and Twitter, Real Thom Luginbill on TikTok and YouTube, and a couple of nuggets here and there as news breaks. Give some commentary and opinion, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
It's Thom Luginbill. It's good stuff. All right, we'll get a break. You want to react to any of that? You can react to it. Phone lines go back open on a Reaction Monday, 256-5764, 97.7. Your text window, 7329 TA show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Our zone deal this week is $50 worth of Full Moon Barbecue from our Huntsville location for half price, just $25. Log on 977ESPN.com beginning Friday morning to score this incredible deal from Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco, the best little pork house in Alabama.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
In Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto.
Stepping back, deep three, bottom.
Hard work.
2-on-1, driving, stepping through, tough shot, got it
to go.
Teamwork.
Play the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference.
Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday night, expect to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Low temperatures are expected to fall into the upper 50s for the overnight. Heading into your Tuesday, a few isolated showers going to be possible mainly in the morning. We'll see mostly clouds throughout the rest of the day. High temperatures going to be topping out in the mid-70s for the afternoon. We could also see gusty winds as high as 35 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Under your number, I wrote call for a good time. I only wanted to get your attention, but you overlooked me somehow. Besides, you had too many boyfriends to mention, and I played my guitar too loud. How do you like me now? How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way. You still think I'm crazy?
Segment of the show is brought to you by the folks at Valley Equipment Rental, locally owned. Ross Roberts and his team standing by to make sure that you get the equipment you need to get the job done. This is that time of year. I'll tell you right now, these weekends, good weather, this is the time of year when you can get a lot of work done, getting things going for the upcoming, spring and summer. I know for me, I did some stuff on Saturday, more so than Sunday. I don't think I did anything Sunday other than church and take my wife to lunch after church like we always do and watch the race, stuff like that. I didn't do anything Sunday. Sunday, day of rest. Saturday, did a lot of work. Worked from early in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I had to go up to the Home Depot and get some stuff. People everywhere getting stuff. Well, if you need equipment to get the job done that you're thinking about doing, like I have a front walk that is got cracks in it and stuff. I want to break it out and put in I'd like to do a brick walk. All right. I think it would look good with the house. The house is an antebellum type old home, and it would be neat to have like a brick herringbone type pattern or something like that walk. So I have a concrete walk that's break. Well, I need to bust that up. Where do you go to get a compressor and a jackhammer? You go to Valley Equipment Rental. Where do you go to get one of those trailers to put all the broken concrete in to haul to the dump? Valley Equipment Rental. I want to put a fence up along a parking area between our main home and across the street is where where the guest house is, and in the guest house is where my offices are for Big Dog Productions. So I want to put a fence there. Well, I need something that I want to drill the holes to put in the fence posts. Valley Equipment Rental. Could do it with a skid steer, with a drill attachment. You can do it with a handheld drill attachment. Everything you need, it's a Valley Equipment Rental. That's where you need to go. All right, Valley Equipment Rental. 2 locations, North Parkway and South Parkway. All right, let's take a look at the text window. Guys have been using it throughout the show. Let's see what's being said there. Kramer says, I bet Japan and Mexico aren't beating us at tick and videos. It's all about the clicks nowadays. I bet Japan is beating us in TikTok and videos.
They got not in Japan, but in Indonesia or whatever, they got factories where they do TikTok videos. They all have different little rooms, and that's all they do. TikTok videos 24/7.
Yeah, I think that they're beating us in TikTok. I'm going to say that they're getting us right now in TikTok. Mexico, I don't know so much. But Japan, with the technology that those people have,
So the UFC is going to do a thing where they're going to, promote more Mexican fighters and stuff like that in the UFC. And they're going to start their own tournament in Mexico. Or their own pay-per-view. Try to get more pay-per-views in Mexico because they're trying to get more... they think Mexican fighters can basically compete with, the Brazilian fighters, the best fighters in the world. Can't even do UFC.
My cousin Vinny says, does Thom Luginbill have a daughter who goes to the University of New Hampshire? The reason I asked, I was watching a Maine, New Hampshire hockey game. I swear the female on ice interviewer's last name was Luginbill. He spelled it Loog.
Go Bears.
Loses
Maine
Lug.
Bears.
I'm just impressed that he was watching a Maine, New Hampshire hockey game.
I mean,
I don't even know. How do you watch a Maine, New Hampshire hockey game? I watch Beanpot. That's the only thing I watch college hockey-wise, as much as I am a hockey fan.
Yeah.
And I know that there's like Notre Dame is a great team, and Michigan is a great team, and Wisconsin, the Big Ten. It's not Big Ten hockey, but it's those Big Ten schools up there. I'll watch some Beanpot, which is Harvard and Boston University and Boston College. I'll watch and Northeastern. I'll watch some Beanpot, but that's the extent of the college hockey that I watch. Even though I played college hockey, but I don't know. That Luginbill does not have a daughter that goes to
I don't think he does.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. His son is the oldest one that he has. Text window. If the majority of coaches and ADs do not like the way the signing periods are now, why don't they change them? Well, they're trying to change them. It's not up to the coaches. The coaches do as they bitch. It's up to the coaches to bitch, and then they got committees, and they've got, there's an NIL, not NIL, NLI. See, it used to be NIL was our term. Now it's NIL. National Letter of Intent is what they used to be. But there's a National Letter of Intent subcommittee of the College Commissioners Association, the CCA. Big Sky Commissioner Thom is the chairman of the National Letter of Intent Subcommittee. And they're the ones that said last week that they have had advanced discussions to move the December signing period up to the Wednesday before the Football Bowl Subdivision Championship games. So in other words, this upcoming year, say December 4th would be the date. The signing period would give athletes a short period of time to sign their NLIs, National Letter of Intent, after the conclusion of their high school season. So what will happen is that they'll get NIL deals. They'll get their NIL deals lined up, and then they'll sign their NLI. After they get their NIL, they sign their NL. We won't be able to say it. There is no such thing as name, image, and likeness anymore. There isn't. Now it's just pay for play. They're just pay for play. They're being paid by these collectives to go and play at the school. They can just stop hiding and tricking it and whatever. It's just the collective. Coach says, I need Billy Bob from West Texas. NIL negotiates a deal with Billy Bob to come to the school, period, end of story. The next step is that Billy Bob needs to be under contract. He needs to be signing a 3-year contract that'll keep him at the school. So every year we're not going through the same scenario. That's how that's going to happen. But true name, image, and which would have been like when Johnny Manziel got $7,500 to sign all those helmets, at a hotel, in a hotel room.
Yeah,
that's true NIL. True NIL is Olivia Dunn. That is NIL. Has anybody ever seen Olivia Dunn actually compete?
No.
As a gymnast?
No.
Right?
No. Like the two basketball sisters or whatever, the twins. Like I've never seen a game on ESPN.
Anymore. Yeah.
They got Caitlin Clark on ESPN.
They ended up going to Miami. They were okay. They weren't bad basketball players. They were playing someplace on the West Coast in a smaller conference. Then they ended up, I think, at Miami. And they just get paid to be cute.
It's like some
Olivia
of these.
Dunn just gets paid to be cute. She just gets paid to wear spandex.
Hey. Sell the Lululemons.
Yeah. I mean, nobody is sitting there saying, hey, wow, LSU, let's go win that gymnastics natty behind Olivia. Hey, we need Olivia Dunn so that we can win the gymnastics meet. No, they're not saying that.
It's like they're building a super team over at LSU, and I don't even think they're going to win this year. With the women's basketball, just talking college women basketball, they're just building a super team over there, and I don't even think they're going to win this year.
It's one of them Grizz moments.
No, I'm just saying that they're able to bring some girl over that's really good, and another team that's already good that won the national title. I mean,
what's that got to do with Olivia Dunn? She's a gymnast. I don't say LSU basketball. I wonder if that Angel, whatever her name is, she's probably got all kinds of Angel Reese, she's probably got NIL deals up to Yang Yang. Nobody cares.
I don't know what she has.
Basketball.
She's got to stay on the court.
Yeah, whatever it is. But the name, image, and likeness isn't why guys are just going to sign to play. That's what it's going to be. It's not anything about. This has had nothing to do with the name, the image, or the likeness. Text window for years. People said the players should get part of the vast amount of money that college football generates. They still are not getting one penny of that money. So far, the schools are still keeping all of that money. It will ride the NIL money until it runs out. Yeah. Right now they don't, except for the fact that where is this money coming from that these collectives are putting into that? Well, it's got to come out of if you're a business owner and you've got $1 million that you would be donating to the school, and now you put it into collective, you know what I mean? It's coming from somewhere. You would think that the money that's going into the NIL collectives now is money that would have in previous years maybe have gone to the school directly, but it's the same result. You're going and you're hiring, you're getting them players. So it's the same result of that. But yeah, at some point in time, you would think that there would be some portion of the money. Like the NCAA is going to get a huge licensing fee for the video game. The players are getting $600 a pop. And you say, well, yeah, there's 15,000 players, or there's 11,000. 11,000 players, it's $6.6 million for 11,000 players to get $600 each. Do you know how much the universities are going to be getting for licensing that game? A hell of a lot more than what the players are getting. I guarantee you it's more than $6 million in licensing fees to all of those colleges that they got to sign up, all 134 colleges. Come on. So the question will be, but here's the thing. That money that the universities are getting for the TV contracts and all that other kind of stuff, that's why there's a sports department at the school. If they have to take and start paying a chunk of that dough to players as employees, basically, of the football program, if they have to do that, who's going to pay the volleyball team? Who's going to support the softball team? You think just because you're a fan of women's softball for a month in May that makes any money? That doesn't make any money. There's a women's softball without football and basketball. It's the way it is. At some point in time, it's the way it is. Unless Lynch is sending me pictures of food.
Looks good.
I see him.
Burn ends.
I see him. Oh, what's he posting them somewhere? Where are you seeing
He sent me some on Facebook, too.
Oh, on Facebook?
Making me hungry.
He sends them to the text window. He says, I sent you my food porn. They can't beat redneck beer drinking smoke challenge. Yeah. I think the U.S. is really good at that. Probably really good at that. Grumpy says, put up the fence already. You've been talking about it for a year. I have. I'll tell you why. I'm not sure I'm going to do it.
4 able-bodied sons.
Well, no, it's not about that. My wife and I debate it. We keep going back and forth and back and forth on the privacy fence by the parking area. Right now, there's these Rose of Sharon bushes up there, and they're huge, and they're dirty as all get out. I mean, they get really nasty in the fall. The Rose of Sharon stuff falls off them and everything, and they offer a lot of privacy. They grow like a weed. They're a pain to trim. So what I want to do is I want to go to Valley Equipment Rental, get an excavator, and rip out the 4 or 5 big, huge Rose of Sharon bushes and put a fence there. And she goes, well, if we put a fence there, then we got to plant some kind of shrubbery in front of the fence because it'll be, the fence will be too hard. I know, we just keep going around and around about it. I've been talking about doing that sidewalk for years, too. But then there's always a different deal that comes up that I need to do. All right, one more. Tomahawk David says, weird. We had a cluster bleep Friday. We come back from the weekend. We get a random racist caller Monday. Who was got to love the TA show? What racist call did we get? Did we get a racist call today?
Yeah, pretty.
Ooh.
Pretty borderline. Pretty borderline.
Paulie in a cape?
No, Natty Danny. I think Natty Danny was more
with
than
the
Paulie
Chinese
in the cape.
versus the Japanese.
Yeah. Paulie in the
Might have
cape
been-
was like voice
might
of
have been
reason.
both of
Natty
them.
Danny was just pure insult.
Was he insulting?
A little
I
bit.
mean, he did like
He might have to
Chinese,
take a day off. He might have suspension. I've given Jeff from the Burrow suspensions before.
I don't suspend anybody from that show. Nobody gets suspended
He's
from
not.
the Tom Abraham show.
Yeah.
I may have been worse than him. May have been me. Maybe he's talking about me with my comment about the 3 weed whackers and the push mower.
Maybe
in the
that
back
too.
of
That was
Daniel Suarez's car. No,
Yeah.
but that's not. That's just funny. I don't care who you are. I mean, I'm Italian. I take that kind of stuff all the time. I get hit with that kind of stuff all the time. So, they're the ones that brought out a piñata. Tomahawk David says both Natty Danny and Paulie were racist. Yeah. They brought a piñata out, for God's sakes. How is that not stereotypical? Let's get a break. Come back, wrap it up. It's Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 3 air-chilled boneless chicken breasts and 4 juicy boneless pork chops with your order. OmahaSteaks.com/VSiN.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Closing in on March Madness, Connecticut a plus 400 favorite to win the national title, followed by Houston and Purdue at plus 700, Arizona plus 1,200. Major League Baseball spring training in full swing. The Dodgers enter the season as the favorite to win the World Series at plus 375, with Atlanta the second among betting favorites at plus 550. The defending World Series champion Houston Astros check in at plus 800, with the Yankees at plus 900. Aaron Judge a plus 550 favorite to win the MVP, with Juan Soto at plus 600, Corey Seager plus 850, and Jordan Alvarez plus 900. Julio Rodriguez plus 1,000 to win the MVP. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Oh, it's time to go fly a kite.
Let's go fly a kite.
Array of Hope is hosting the 12th Annual Community Kite Festival on Saturday, March 2nd from 11 to 3 at John Hunt Park. This free event brings harmony across all ethnic and social backgrounds through kite flying and family-friendly activities. You can bring your own kite or purchase one at the event. Saturday, March 2nd in John Hunt Park. Learn more at ashakaranonline.org.
you want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Each week, check out our latest zone deal online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm eating good food.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
For the first time in 15 years, Alabama is not favored to win. They're not the first or second favorite in the SEC for the upcoming season. First time in 15 years. Are you ready for Georgia and Texas in the SEC championship game? Because that's what Vegas is saying right now. Right now, Georgia is 2-1 to win the SEC conference. Texas is 5-2. So nobody is concerned about Texas playing an SEC schedule. Texas has now taken Alabama's spot right behind Georgia. It was always, for the last several years since Kirby got there, it was always Georgia and Alabama or Alabama and Georgia. Georgia, Alabama, Alabama, Georgia to win the SEC conference championship. Now, this is going to be interesting with no divisions. It'll be interesting when we get to Dallas in July for SEC Media Days. It'll be interesting to see how the media votes. There'll be no voting on an East and West. It'll be just voting on the two teams to go to the SEC championship. Ole Miss is the third favorite at 13-2. Alabama and Tennessee are both 9-1, tied as the fourth favorite to win the SEC championship in 2024. LSU is 10-1. Missouri is 11-1. Texas A&M 22-1. Auburn is 50-1 with Oklahoma 50-1. Kentucky and South Carolina 80 and 90-1. Florida 100-1. Where have you gone, Urban Meyer? Florida 100-1 to win the SEC. Good God, they're down there with Vandy. All right, coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show, and then The Drive with Wes and Steve, all right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.